Hey folks, thanks for tuning into this session, and I would like to thank the team for giving me this opportunity to share my learning with the community. And today I'm going to specifically focus on distributed application runtime, specifically on with the observability perspective, from the observability perspective, and and how exactly this distributed application runtime takes over the effort of the developer from instrumenting the code. Before I deep dive into that, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Vivek. The bit of different set of roles I have played. Currently, I am a senior cloud advocate in cloud and AI engineering team of Microsoft. And this is my digital coordinate. You can connect with me in any of these coordinates, and we can have a deeper discussion on today's topic as well, or any other topic as well. Um, Specifically, I just want to quote a story here. 4 years back, when I was delivering a talk in one of the conference, um, uh, specifically on Agers, on tracing, there was a question from audience, like how difficult it is to instrument it from a developer perspective, and if I have 25 to 30 microservices, and I have previously instrumented with different standard or different tool, and if I have to instrument it with the latest tool and frameworks, how difficult it is to move away from that. So I had no answers at that time. I said, it's going to take time to build it, and you have to go back and instrument it. We can't do anything about it. You will have to spend some time. But today, I can confidently answer that. You can use distributed application runtime, which is Daprs, in solving those problems. And I've been talking about observability. Observability can be divided into four broader categories: tracing, metrics, logging, and health. Tracing is about understanding the traffic between services, the performance and performance bottleneck between services when they interact for a specific business transaction. And metrics is about resource consumptions, and logging is about understanding the errors and warnings available within the code, getting some insights on that. And then there is health endpoints, whether this is part of the resiliency of your application, whether it is available or not for taking any of the request. So and today specifically, I'm going to spend time on tracing, but all of these four different categories have different set of tools, and as a developer you need to go back and instrument in the code for specific tools as well. Like if you're logging, you need to instrument. If you're tracing, you need to instrument. And for an example, right, if I'm a developer and I want to make sure the tracing is enabled on my application, I will have to go back and instrument it in this way. I will have to install the modules specific to Zipkin, and you can see there are a couple of things where is being called out from a Zipkin perspective in the code itself. And if I have, that is one part of the problem. So if you have 25, 30 services, 40 services, as a developer, you need to make sure you have to code it. The moment you code, there is a bug, right? So that's the implementation, overhead, right? And if you have to move away into a different tool like Agar, which is also a tracing tool, you still have to implement it in a different way, and both the implementation are different. Even though both of them are for Python, both of them are using Flask, the implementations are different. And as a developer, you need to understand how to instrument this. And how does Dapr solve this problem? Simple. It provides you a container, a sidecar. From a sidecar architecture perspective, it provides you a container which gets attached to the services. Say for example, you have service A and service B. It is attached to a specific Dapr container, and all the interactions between these services is through the Dapr container which is out there within your pod. And you can see I am using Redis cache here, and I could use Azure Redis cache, or I could use different set of tools for capturing publish and subscribe kind of a scenario. And you can see from apps perspective, there is collector, open telemetry collector available, and once you have collected into open telemetry, you can use it with any of these different set of tools which is out there. I could use Agar, Prometheus, and Zipkins and other things. So it's basically you're not instrumenting the code. All you're doing is you're enabling the pod. You're adding a new container to the pod, which is the Dapr, and capturing all the information through that. So for an example, there is service A, there is service B, and service A is invoking service B. There is a sidecar for the service A, which is set up by the Dapr, and then there is a collector. So each time there is an interaction happening, there's information is being collected, and from the collector I can use it with any of the tools, and it could be for health, it could be for logging, it could be for metrics, it could be for tracing. So both sidecars for service B and service A is pushing the information to the collector, and from through collectors I'm able to capture all the information. And note that it provides out of the box support for various set of tools. So you need not go back to service A and service B and instrument these like the way I showed you, right? Zipkins and Agars. I could use service A with with the Zipkin, or probably service B is set up with Agars. It could be a different set of altogether different set of companies as well, right? So service A and service B could be different orgs within the company, and they are talking to each other for different services, and maybe they might be using different observability backends, right? So that's the use case, and we will see how to develop that. Let's not worry too much about what it provides. On top of that, basically instrumentation, how it is easy, and how you can configure sample rates and other things, or from a metrics perspective, how you can set up all of these things. I'm going to focus on tracing, and we're going to see a demo of that and how to set this up. Right, so let me go back and see whether my Kubernetes cluster is up. Yes, cluster is up. So I'll go to the cluster, and this is my cluster, which is on Azure, and it is Azure Kubernetes service. What we need to do now is to make sure that I have access to the cluster. So basically, I'll just say connect. So what is there? This is the credentials which I need to provide. So I'll just take this up and say Dapr demo. Already resources set, right? Resource is Dapr test. Perfect. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm in the context, and the Kubernetes context is set on my system. So I've set the context, so we can also check it is set or not. Config get context, and when you do that, you'll get this information, and you can see there is one context, it has been set, right? So cool, so we are good to go, and all I have is a cluster now, and I have a demo app which is out there. So I have the access to the cluster, and I just want to make sure I create that app. And what is that app is basically, I'll just show you the code, the YAML, right? So it's basically a backend. It's an Azure voting app, and it's a backend. Backend is Redis, and nothing different. and it is sitting on a service. There is access to it. It's kind of access to this specific backend, and then there is front end, which is having a load balancer attached to it, and there is a front end which is a simple code which is out there. So I'm going to use that code, and this is already a pre-built image which is there, and you can just reuse it. So it's a simple app. What we're doing is we're going to go and deploy this app. kubectl apply fnf. This is the app. So Azure Oat initial init. So it's basically, there is no Dapr installed on top of it. I have not done the instrumentation of any tracing on the app. So right now all I have is a cluster, and with the cluster I have created an app, and we will see what this app is basically doing. So let's see. Say if I have to check, it's up. The link I'm going to copy, and come back here, and this is not the app, this is the old one. So this is yet to come up. So while it is coming up, we will do a couple of things. Okay, while it is coming up, the app is coming up, what we will do is we will install a Dapr. Installation of Dapr CLI is very simple. You can just go and look for it. You can just go and brew install Dapr, and you will get installation done. And once you have installed Dapr, you just check for the installation, and you can see there is a bunch of things from a CLI perspective. So you have the distributed application runtime CLI up and running for you. So all you need to do is now make sure that you initialize this with Kubernetes. So you have to run this specific command when the context is set for your Kubernetes cluster. So it's not like you just go out there and just run this command and it will get started. You just want to make sure that it's part of the cluster, the context is set. So once you have the context set, it is deploying a control plane. So it's basically deploying that control plane onto your cluster. So while that is happening, we will see what's happening here. Sorry, where is this? Okay, so this is the app which we have. So it's cats versus dogs. So this is the app which we are using. As of now, we are not capturing any tracing. We have not enabled any tracing on this app. It's just a simple app which is hosted on Kubernetes, and all we are doing now is installing the control plane for Dapr. And now what we will do is we'll pick this up and see what's in the namespace. So we have a couple of things, dashboards and sidecar injectors and other things which is out there. And what we will do now is just go ahead and just install Zipkin on top of this, right? And that's done. A simple Zipkin has been installed, and then we will make sure that we will execute a command to expose the Zipkin from a port perspective. So we're going to expose it. So we are ready with this, and all we need to do is run configuration. So what is configuration? Is app configuration. So this is the configurations. So a couple of configurations you need to do. This is a configuration we need to run to enable Zipkin. So here is the endpoint and Zipkin endpoint, and I'm going to talk about how you can change this endpoint to a Aegir, and it gets converted into an Aegir dashboard. But we are going to anyways see that. But simple to remember, I just want to make sure that this component is enabled. So I'm enabling on the Dapr. I'm going to use this control plane, the operator which has been installed, and we are going to name it app config, and there is sampling rate. So all the requests will be captured at this specific endpoint. All the requests which is going through the app will be captured as part of the tracing. So that's what sampling rate 1 means, right? So now I have the app configuration. Let's go and run this app configuration. So all I need to do is just apply app configuration, and once it has been applied on the Kubernetes, you can also check the configurations -k, which is Kubernetes. Did I miss configurations? Okay, it's S. So basically, once let's run it again just for making sure. Okay, once you run this command, the configurations, so you can see here app config is ready, and tracing is enabled, and metrics is enabled. So by default, metrics is enabled whenever you have depots, right? So by default it is enabled when you run app configurations YAML file. So you can also disable it, but right now you can see here it's up and running, and you have everything enabled for here. So all we need to do is basically go back, and what else we need to do? So we just need to go and code. So now we have this code. We haven't enabled anything specifically in the code, in the YAML of specifically the configurations, right? So there is nothing changed. So what we will do is we're going to go here, pick this up, we're going to add annotations. So I'm just copying this code which is there in my init file under the meta. So what I'm going to do now is adding annotations, and you can see I'm enabling with app config. That's what we did from a Dapr perspective. So here it initializes a new container and add it on top of, it's like a sidecar attached to the container which is going to run. Similarly, I'm going to do it for the front end as well. So there is addition. We go here into init, and we're going to add same set of things for this one as well. So I'm saving it. So that's done. So now since we have enabled Zipkin, we just make sure that we port forward it, right? So that we can see Zipkin, right? Okay, I can see. Go to localhost 9411. Here you go. So we have Zipkin, right? And Zipkin is ready, and it's been running. And let's open up a new shell so that I don't want to disturb this one. Right, I did not run it in background mode, so we'll have to and demo today, right? That was okay. Now I'm in demo. I have all the files here. So what we'll do next is we have the oat init, and before I go and run the oat init file, we'll just make sure that everything is up. So we have the cluster. On cluster we did install the Dapr control plane, and then we had obviously deployed an app. It's ready, and we have basically couple of things enabled, right? So we have Zipkins, and we have set up the Zipkin, we have run the configuration for the Zipkin, and we have the Zipkin up and running. All we need to do now is to go and run the file, which is the annotations which we added, right? Cube ctl apply -f Azure oat init. So now I added a simple way of adding tracing on top of these things, and to view that, I just need to do a Dapr. I just need to I will also show you how we can invoke the dashboard -k. You just need to hit -k, and you will see the dashboard. Let me bring the dashboard here. There's a couple of things which is happening right now. We can see here these two have been enabled from a Dapr application perspective in the dashboard, and if I go here, you can see a couple of things: metadata, the app ID, app port, and other things, and configurations it is bringing in, and logs. And you can also see the logs which is there for specifically for this specific thing. So this is also a telemetry data, and yeah, so for OAT back as well, you can see the same set of things is available for that as well. So you can also see that for front end and the back end, right? So this is the control plane, and you can see this in the service as well in Azure Kubernetes service. You can see here, I hope I did show you, but this is OatBank Dapr, and you can see here there are two different services getting enabled here. For these two different services, we got two different containers as well. So now I hope it will capture the data. So I am running this app, and this app is up. I'm calling again, resetting it, running a couple of things, hopefully thinking that's how it is. So now you have enable tracing. Now you can see there is trace available. I didn't do anything on the code. I didn't install any of those pib install Zipkin, Flask Zipkin or something, and I didn't do any of those things. Or for Agar, I'll show you for Agar as well, but I didn't do anything. It's just Zipkin I have. I'm just having these set of tracing which is happening, and you can see, I can see the trace, I can see everything coming in, and also the time it's taking for executing a couple of things, right? So I can always go back and see a couple of things, right? So data is available already. So all I need to do is, it's all set. All I need to do for changing this specific thing is go here, install Agar and get that Agar up and running, like how we got Zipkin, and just go to tracing, and I'll show you a code. Nothing changes here. Very simple, and that is all I need to do is change the endpoint in the app config, change the endpoint to this, which is I'll just word wrap it. So you can see here, change the endpoint to this instead of this, and give a different name and just execute it. So once you execute, once you apply this YAML, and obviously you have to make sure that you change the name. If you have changed the name, just change the name that's it. You're moved to Agre as well, Agre dashboard as well. So that's how simple it is to instrument your code, and that's how simple it is to get things done. So let me go back to my slide, and if you're looking for deep dive session on this, I'm going to do it specifically from a hands-on session. I'll be driving this session at the Microsoft Reactor in May, and definitely do join in. And this is the link to join the Reactor community. So do join the Reactor and join me in a couple of sessions, specifically on these kind of sessions as well, where we're going to do a lot of hands-on sessions specifically for developers. And this is my digital coordinate, and thank you for this opportunity. And I would love to see if there are any questions. Do reach out to me. I'm available on any of these digital coordinates, and we can definitely catch up and have a deep dive discussion on the same. Thank you very much. See you. Take care.